What is the actual timeline for Ethan and Xana? Is it a secret?
Release the secret.
Another very good question. I don't know that it's necessarily a secret, but there is a gap, at least that we know of. But they were at a fraternity party. Very, very close to here, about a 5-minute walk away from here. And we know that they were spotted at that party the night before the murders, but we don't know that they stayed there.
Now let's show a quick history of fraternities.
Aye. When Beta Delta was established at the University of Montana in 1906, the nearest chapter to the east was the University of Minnesota, about 1,200 miles away, and to the west, the University of Washington, about 700 miles away. The donor of the Montana campus was a Sigma Chi. The first president and 3 professors were Sigma Chi's. There is probably no state in the Union where Sigma Chi's influence is so strongly felt and expressed.
And he said, you know what, we are gentlemen. Sigma Chi's are gentlemen, and the world expects us to be gentlemen. The world needs gentlemen. The world needs men of such manner, I believe is what he said.
It reads, a pledge was blindfolded and made to do cocaine in order to become initiated. West 2 News tried to speak with Sigma Chi members, but they declined to be interviewed on camera.
And he laid forth those characteristics that we must identify to perpetuate our order.
I want to get back to what our founders taught us.
Chapter President Brian Wells emailed me a statement saying, we take such accusations very seriously and will work closely with the university through the student conduct process. Sigma Chi is an organization built on values of leadership and character. We look forward to bringing this matter to a conclusion. The accusations of hazing and drug abuse surfaced just weeks after Sigma Chi was hit with an organizational disciplinary suspension, punishment for unauthorized use of the university's name. A search of West 2 News archives reveals that back in 2013, Sigma Chi was no longer recognized on this campus by UCF for a nearly 3-year period because of allegations of hazing. And during that time, it faced another investigation of alleged hazing. A UCF spokesman says student organizations that endanger their members and violate the university's code of conduct must be held accountable. Hazing in any form is unacceptable.
I mean, if you are being forced to do cocaine and other type of drug, then that's definitely not something you should join.
I will say what kept me from one is because of stories such as this, so that's my thought on that.
A National Sigma Chi spokesman tells me, I have no comment right now as this matter has not come across my desk. That's an interesting statement by the spokesperson from the National Organization for Sigma Chi, because the local chapter president said that he has been talking, quote, frequently.
I recently dug up some information of someone who recently left Sigma Chi, and this is what they said.
Ethan What's your middle name?
James.
What's your last name, Ethan?
Chapin. C-H-A-P-I-N.
C-H-A-P-I-N?
Yeah, I-N.
Awesome. What's your birthday, Ethan?
2002.
A new twist in the slaying of those 4 University of Idaho students. We're learning now that just after 3 in the morning, police got a call about a disturbance outside a frat house, just a short walk from the crime scene. The murders happened not long after that call. But is there a connection? Jim Murray reports.
Citation here, any rest of information on here, but that's all your information. Citation is MIC, and then down here is going to be the paid by or contest by date. So it's an infraction. So there's a set fine for this, okay? It's $487.50, and it has to be paid or contested by December 1st. Okay? So what's your last 4 of social?
Let me check.
How tall are you?
I am 6 foot, maybe 6'1".
A mysterious 911 call sent cops rushing to the street the night the 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. Police logs from that fateful night show a disturbance in this field outside the Sigma Chi fraternity. The Moscow, Idaho Police daily activity log reveals officers responded to an alcohol offense at 3:01 a.m. That's right around the time police say the murders were committed.
November 12th at 1:59, Ethan sent Haley money. The caption said, "Thank you." Then at 2:10 p.m., he sent her money again with a note that says, "Yeah." But when group members looked at Ethan's Venmo, a new Jack came about. Ethan paid someone named Jack Hadovich at 11:40 p.m., and that is his last Venmo transaction. Not to say there's anything wrong or suspicious, but that's just a new character that comes for people to talk about on social media. But someone went a step further in our group and did some digging. They posted that someone paid Jack's sister that day and captioned it 3:30 a.m. That time they felt was really unsettling. And Jack K was also the first person to donate to a memorial fund for Ethan in the amount of $6. And people are really reading into that a lot. Why $6? Now Jack is really just a topic of conversation that people want to hear more about.
Wow. And a 3:30 a.m. Venmo captioned 3:30 a.m. Jack's sister. Fascinating.
How close is that frat house to the murder scene? Let me show you. Here's the frat house. You walk across the street and right through these apartment buildings. You then continue up this narrow path, and then you walk up these wooden stairs. And there you are, right at the house.
Is the house. This is the house where the murders happened.
I had
short walk.
no idea. Wow. I mean, short walk, that's like 55 seconds. I mean, they could have gotten home so quickly from that frat house. I had no idea it was that close, Bryan. That's remarkable.
Very close.
Ethan and Xana went together, as you mentioned, and then our understanding is that Hunter, Ethan's triplet brother, it was also a part of that fraternity house. And Hunter took Maisie, their sister, as his +1. But even Idaho State Police, the communications director for Idaho State Police, has said there are gaps in that timeline that night at Sigma Chi, and they want students to help them fill in those gaps. So they're still wondering, we're still wondering, what happened within that time frame.
Maisie and Hunter, the 2 triplets with Ethan, were at that party as well and spent the whole evening together with Ethan and Xana until those 2 left the party, which you would think they would know the time they left the party, and yet we're not being told that.
And here's the other thing that really doesn't sit well with me, Bryan. Ethan is a member of Sigma Chi. He's a brother at that fraternity. And so for someone to say last time they were seen was 9 p.m., if they were at that party for the next 5 hours, somebody would know that. I mean, someone would know. It's his fraternity. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you would think, and you could go to the fraternity. I assume they have surveillance cameras outside. They could interview the members who were there. It certainly is strange that there is that gap there. And you heard the police again today saying they want people to come forward and tell them if they saw the 2 during that time.
But it's still just weird to think about the fact that the police were so close to this house around the time the murders were happening.
Investigators are also revealing there was a 6th roommate who lived in the house who wasn't home that night. There was Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison, the 2 surviving roommates who slept through the attack, and now the 6th young lady whose name we are withholding. Detectives are aware of a 6th person listed on the lease at the residence, but do not believe that individual was present during the incident, a police statement says.
All right, so here's another question, Brian. This is from Nicole. She is asking, does the Sigma Chi house have cameras on the outside or even inside to see who's coming and going? And I believe the Sigma Chi house is right across the street from the house where the murders happened, right?
I haven't seen any cameras, surveillance cameras over there. We've looked a couple of times. It's possible that they're just not easy to spot.
I knew them. Ethan was always in the house. Dana was a good friend before, Ethan even came up. But that's all I really want to talk about right now because I actually have class here.
Does anyone know where they were during that timeline? Like, there's still this big chunk where...
as of right now, we've told Moscow PD, Idaho State Police, and the FBI all we know. We're kind of leaving it up to them to piece it together. Obviously, we don't have the utilities or resources to do it on our own, so we're just putting full faith in officers and the detectives doing it. But that's all I really know right now.
Are there any cameras around?
Not on the property.
Moscow police say they are investigating the time frame between 9 p.m. the night before the murders on November 12th and 1:45 a.m. when Ethan and Xana were believed to be at the Sigma Chi house.
There is probably no state in the Union where Sigma Chi's influence is so strongly felt and expressed.
I'll just grab your name. Do you mind grabbing that bottle you put back there? Do you mind grabbing that bottle you put back there? The bottle that you put back there that's open, do you mind grabbing that? I appreciate it. What's your current address here? Do you live in Moscow? Are you staying in Moscow? Like to go to school?
I go to school here.
Yeah, what's your address here?
I live in a fraternity.
Okay, what's the address? So everything else checks out, I'm going to warn you. I know you're underage. Shouldn't be having this, right? Okay. Okay. You could get a ticket for this. It's around a $500 ticket for a minor in possession, okay? So, I'm gonna just make sure everything comes out clear and I'll get you guys out here, okay? Alrighty, Ethan, I'm just gonna make sure you're good to drive, man. I'm just gonna have you pop out. I'm gonna check your eyes real quick and get you guys out of here with a warning, okay?
Another warning. We've seen this before with Kaylee. Whose influence is causing police to not disclose the whereabouts of Ethan and Xana during their timeline gap? Why are people afraid to speak up and disclose this information? What makes it worse is that Ethan's siblings are still a part of the fraternity.
Ethan's brothers are taking care to embrace his memory and look out for his triplet siblings, Hunter and Maisie. On Sunday night, that fraternity named Ethan's sister Maisie, right there in the middle, their official sweetheart of Sigma Chi. You can see Ethan's brother Hunter. He's like right behind her to the left with his arm up and around a friend. He's standing there behind his sister. He's also a Sigma Chi member. Those brothers then serenaded Maisie with their famous song, Sweetheart of Sigma Chi, and they each presented her with a rose. The song and the ceremony are actually world famous, recorded dozens of times, and actually made into 2 movies as well. Becoming a Sigma Chi sweetheart is a pretty big deal. There is one name for every chapter of the fraternity, and there's an international person who gets that honor as well. The sweetheart can wear the Sigma Chi letters and is considered a beacon of all that the brothers strive to be. And Maisie sounds a lot like her brother Ethan.